if you have any creatives or any writers in your circle and they're looking to just make extra income, and they're looking to enter the journey into entrepreneurship, feel free to share this with them. Or what would be really dope is if you go ahead and download the process at process.visionarycj.com, and you just email it to them and say, hey, I heard this podcast episode about starting your own ghostwriting business. I thought about you. Here's the blueprint. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Your Visionary Podcast. I'm your host, Visionary CJ, and this is episode number 42, titled The Business Every Writer Should Start in 2021. And this is part 2 of this video. And in the first part, I talked about why every writer should start a ghostwriting business, and I also mentioned how. And so the part 1, it was just a 10-minute video. And so I just gave like a little run through of, the 2 topics that I just named. But in this episode, I want to do another short video, but I want to tell you about the process that I've been using the past 3 years of having my ghostwriting business to go through each and every project successfully and in order. Because if you don't know, ghostwriting or writing a book in general, it can be a long process. There are a lot of ideas floating around, a lot of different topics and stories. And so you need a blueprint or a process to be able to keep your ideas and your task in line. And as an entrepreneur, it's important to document each and every step that you take while building your business and running your everyday tasks for 2 reasons. One, so that you're able to optimize what you're doing and you're not, running in circles. And 2, so that you can share the blueprint, right? Share the blueprint. And so that's what I plan on doing in this episode. I want to give you what I call the visionary writing process, where I take you through 4 different processes, from discovery to discovering a client, all the way down to publishing, to self-publishing on Amazon. And so this process, man, is really super in-depth. And I wish I would have had this when I first started out. So I've been ghostwriting for 3 years, but I only had this process for 1 year, almost 1 year. And I'm giving it to you all today because I really want you to be ahead of me and of where I was. And I want you to just be able to skip over some of the hurdles that I had to face when I first started ghostwriting. And so let's get into this. But before we go any further, I want to remind you what this podcast is all about. As you know, this is the one and only podcast intentionally designed to push you forward towards the vision you've created for your life. And if you don't have a vision for your life, this is the podcast to help you structure a vision to become the person that God created you to be. And with every episode, my goal is to tell real, authentic, and purposeful stories, not cap, but true stories, to help you create a vision for your life and get you closer to your purpose. A purpose where you're having a positive impact on those around you and on the world. And once again, thank you for tuning in today. And we're going over the visionary writing process, because this ghostwriting business that I'm about to talk about is the business that every single writer should start in 2021. No matter where you are in your career, it's never too late to pick up ghostwriting. There are so many people out there who want to write books, who want to share their story, or who want to show their expertise on a topic. And so, like I mentioned on part 1, there are so many different niches you can go into. You can go into sports, you can go into beauty, you can go into fashion, you can go into real estate, right? So many different niches out there. So just find one that's relevant to you and do it. And so before I go any further, I also want to mention that I am giving away this visionary writing process. If you go to process.visionarycj.com, you'll be able to put in your email address and download the file. And I'm telling you, it's going to be a blessing to you, because it's been a blessing for me. And so during this episode, I just want to walk you through the process. And then if it sounds good to you, if you want to copy it, go to the website, process.visionarycj.com. And it starts out with the discovery process, right? And by discovery, I mean discovering the potential client. And so step 1 of the discovery process is client qualification. And so you want to meet with your client, you want to hear their story out, and you also want to tell them about your service. You want to tell them about what you charge, and about how long the process will be, all of that. But the most important thing is that you want to vet the client. You want to see what their story is and just get a vibe for them, because you don't want to write somebody's book who is not on the same wavelength as you. And I've made that mistake before, and it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. So you don't want to make that same mistake. So this step one is client qualification. And then you go into team building or vision alignment. And so if once you kind of build up your business and you're able to start hiring a team, this step two of the discovery process is when you reach out to your team and let them know about the project that you all will be taking on. Or this is the vision alignment step, where you just really center in and make sure that you are in line with your potential client's vision, because basically you are just bringing their vision to life, right? Using your creative skills of writing to do this, but this is all your client's brain work. And I created an acronym called FLOW that I want you all to be aware of. And FLOW stands for feeling, language, opportunity, and wow factor. You want to make sure that you're able to duplicate your potential clients' feelings for their story and their book. And you want to be able to duplicate their language. You want to just be aware of how they're speaking in the language that they're using, so that you can try to write in that same way. And then opportunity. What's the opportunity that this book will give its readers? You want to make sure that you're writing with that in mind. And then lastly is wow factor, right? You want to really be certain of what the wow factor is. Like, what makes this book important? What makes this book different from all the other millions of books out there? And so these are the four things you want to think about, when you're going through this vision alignment step. And then we get to the writing process. And there are 3 steps to the writing process. I'll go through them really quickly. The first one is scheduling. You want to make sure that you schedule time out of your day to write, or to just look at the project, to talk about the project. But every single day for 30 to 60 minutes, you want to make sure that you're giving your attention to the project. And this is so, so important, because there's so much going on in the world, and I'm sure in your life. And so if you're not looking at this project every single day, you're going to lose your rhythm. And rhythm is so important when it comes to ghostwriting. Also, flow is important. And so looking at it every single day will help you to keep the flow, keep your rhythm, and be able to knock the project out in a timely manner. And step 2 of the writing process is a standardization of the process. And so once you get to this step, you would have written at least 2 chapters, and it's time for your first meeting with the client after you started the writing process. And this is just to get them in line with what you're doing, is to show what you've done so far, and to make sure that they're okay with what you wrote so far. And you want to make sure that you reconfirm the flow with this first meeting, and make sure that they're on the same page as you and you're on the same page as them. And then once that's done, once you guys are sure that you're going in the right direction, it's step 3. Lock in, beast mode, and get in the zone. I keep hitting my mic. Get in the zone, right? And so now you just grind. Once they've seen the first couple of chapters, you feel like you're on a good pace. You got to grind it out every single day. Just write a little bit, and really just step into that person's shoes and just get a feeling for the vision that they're trying to bring to life. And you got to do that. That's your job as a ghostwriter. And once you've grinded out, you wrote the entire book, 10,000, 15,000, 20, 30,000 words. Then we go into the editing process. And there are a lot of different forms of editing. You have developmental editing, line editing, and then copy editing. And so those are actually the 3 steps of the editing process. And I recommend that you hire a writer, not a writer, but an editor, and just add that into the budget that you're charging the client, because you don't really want to fully edit your own work. You need at least 2 extra pairs of eyes to be able to look at your work and make sure that it makes sense and that it flows well. And so after the editing process is now the publishing process. And so if you're doing the entire publishing process for your client in terms of making the design and putting it on Amazon and all of that, then this publishing process is super important. And you want to start with the exterior design and basically just give the client a couple of examples and have them do their own research to see what they really want the cover of the book to be, right? Because that's very, very important. It's what the reader will see before they read anything. And then interior design is step 2 of the publishing process. And that's equally important because you want it to be a creative project, a creative work of art. And so you don't want to just have basic interior design. But, that's just me personally, because I feel like if you're doing this, you want to go above and beyond for your client so they can refer you to other people and so they can continue to shop with you. And one easy way to go about this is to go to creativemarket.com and just type in interior design of book and just buy one for like $10 and just copy and paste the manuscript into their design that they've already created. And then boom, you got a beautiful design. And once again, if you want this process, go to process.visionarycj.com and you get it for free. This is really valuable work, and I'm telling you, it's 3 years worth of work into this 4-page document. So I really want you to take advantage of it. And lastly, the last step 3 of the publishing process is the launch strategy. And now this is worth a lot of money because this is going to be one of your main selling propositions. With this launch strategy, you'll be able to make your client an Amazon bestseller. And I say this is worth a lot of money because this information is usually what people pay for. Like the person who taught me this, they spent, I think, $1,500 on a course to learn this strategy. And this strategy is in the visionary writing process. So I won't go through it fully, but if you want to learn, just download it. Go to process.visionarycj.com and you'll get that. But basically, you have to pick 2 categories on Amazon that don't have a lot of competition and publish your book there. And then before you publish, create a list of at least 30 people and have them on go. So as soon as the book is up on Amazon, they buy it and they comment or they leave a review. And within the first 24 hours, if your book is the most bought and most commented book in whatever category you're in, then you'll be a bestseller in that category and you'll be able to put that stamp on your resume, and your author, your client, will be able to put that stamp on their own resume because they will be, and you will be, an Amazon best-selling author. And that's just cool to say. It's cool to see, and it just adds that recognition for yourself. And so I know I went through this fast. I hope it was beneficial to you. Hope you're able to learn something from it. And if you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to me, Visionary CJ on Instagram, and comment on YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube or wherever you're at right now. Be sure to leave a comment, leave a review, and share this with a friend. If you have any creatives or any writers in your circle and they're looking to just make extra income, and they're looking to enter the journey into entrepreneurship, feel free to share this with them. Or what would be really dope is if you go ahead and download the process at process.visionarycj.com and you just email it to them and say, hey, I heard this podcast episode about starting your own ghostwriting business. I thought about you. Here's the blueprint. That's just a crazy, amazing gift that I know they'll love. And so that's all I have for you today. If you're just watching this for the first time, go back and listen to episode 40, I think it is, or 41, where I talk about the business every writer should start in 2021, part 1. This is part 2. And there may be a part 3. Just stay tuned for that. But I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned from it. Feel free to share it, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Blessings to you. Peace and love.